Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss another indirect proof method, which is proof by contradiction. In the last lecture, we discussed about proof of the contrapositive. It was one kind of indirect proofs. Now, proof by contradiction is another variation of indirect proof. So we know indirect proofs are two types. One is proof by contradiction, and the other is proof of the contrapositive. We already discussed the proof of the contrapositive. Now we have to discuss proof by contradiction. Proof by contradiction is based on the law of reductio ad absurdum. We know the law of reductio ad absurdum is nothing but P implies Q is logically equivalent to P conjunction negation Q implies F. This is the law of reductio ad absurdum. So P implies Q is logically equivalent to P conjunction negation Q implies F, where F is a contradiction. Proof by contradiction is actually based on this reductio ad absurdum law. So suppose we have a theorem H implies C, where the hypothesis H may be a combination of hypothesis H1, H2, etc. Hn, that is H1 conjunction H2 conjunction H3 etc. conjunction Hn. So this may be our theorem. Now here, to prove this by contradiction, we can use the reductio ad absurdum law. That is, this theorem H implies C is logically equivalent to H conjunction negation C implies a contradiction F. So here actually if you take H as H1 conjunction H2 conjunction etc. conjunction Hn, then by the law of reductio ad absurdum we have H1 conjunction H2 conjunction etc. conjunction Hn conjunction negation C implies F. That is, in this method we assume that each hypothesis is true. Each of these hypotheses is true and the conclusion is false. That is, negation C is true. That means conclusion C is false. Then we argue logically and reach a contradiction F. Here our theorem is actually H1 conjunction H2 conjunction etc. A conjunction Hn implies C. This means that if the left hand side of this implication is true, then C is also true. That is the theorem. Left hand side is true means each of these hypotheses is true. So to prove this theorem by contradiction, we have to assume that the left hand side this is true and C is false. That is H1 conjunction H2 conjunction etc. conjunction Hn conjunction negation of C implies F. That means we are assuming all these hypotheses are true and C is false. We are assuming that these hypotheses are true and the conclusion is false. Then we have to obtain or we have to reach to a contradiction. And if we reach to a contradiction F, then we prove that this implies this. That is the proof by contradiction. Now we can discuss an example. Prove by contradiction. There is no largest prime number. That is, there are infinitely many prime numbers. So here we need to show that there is no largest prime number. That is, there are infinitely many prime numbers. We know a prime number P is a positive integer with exactly two positive factors, 1 and P. That is, the positive integer P having exactly two positive factors, 1 and P. Such integers are called prime numbers. So here we have to prove by contradiction that there is no largest prime number. Here note that there is no explicit hypothesis for this theorem. To prove this theorem by contradiction, we have to assume that the conclusion is false. So assume that the conclusion is false. What is the conclusion? There is no largest prime number. That is the conclusion. So we are assuming that this conclusion is false. That is, we have to suppose that or assume that there is a largest prime number p. That is, there is a largest prime number p. Say p. So we are assuming that there is a largest prime number and that prime number is p. Therefore, the prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, 7, etc. and the last prime number is p. Also assume that there are k such primes. Also assume that there are k such primes p1, p2, p3, etc. pk. That is p1 is equal to 2, p2 equal to 3, p3 equal to 5, etc. and pk equal to p. So we are assuming that there is a largest prime number and it is p. So the prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, 7, etc. Up to p, and these are the prime numbers. Now also assume that there are k such prime numbers. So let this be p1, p2, p3, etc. pk. So pk is equal to p, that is the largest prime number. We assume that the conclusion is false. Now we have to reach into a contradiction. That is what is we need to prove. Now let x denote the product of these prime numbers plus 1. That is, let x is equal to 2 into 3 into 5 into 7, etc. into p plus 1. That is, let x be the product of all these prime numbers plus 1. So clearly we have x is greater than p. Now if you are dividing this x by each of these primes, then we will get the remainder as 1. Dividing x by each of the above primes, then we will get the remainder as 1. So when we divide this x by each of these primes, then we will get the remainder as 1. That means x is not divisible by these primes, any of these primes. That is, x is not divisible by any of the above primes. So x is divisible by 1 and x is divisible by x itself. Therefore, x must be a prime. X must be a prime. Or if x is a composite number, then x is divisible by a prime which is not equal to any of the above primes. Or if x is composite, then x is divisible by a prime q which is not equal to pi. That is, here we assumed that there are k primes which are p1, p2, p3, etc. pk, where pk is equal to p and this is 2, this is 3, etc. And we suppose that x is equal to the product of these primes plus 1. So clearly we got x is greater than p. That is, x is a number which is greater than the last prime number p. So if we divide this x by any of these primes, then it is we will get the remainder as 1. That is, x is not divisible by any of these primes. Therefore x must be either a prime, or if x is a composite, then x is divisible by a prime, but x is not divisible by these primes, so x is divisible by another prime which can be taken as q. So in either case, we have there are more than k primes, because if x is a prime, then we have the primes 2, 3, 5, etc. p, comma x. So we have more than k primes, and if x is not a prime, then it is a composite. Then x is divisible by another prime q, which is not equal to pi, where which is not equal to 2, not equal to 3, etc. not equal to p. So then also we will get another prime q which is not equal to these primes. So then also we will get more than k primes. So in both the cases we will get more than k primes, but this is a contradiction for the assumption that there are only k such primes. So our assumption that there is a largest prime number p is wrong. So there is no largest prime number. That is, in either case, there are more than k primes. There are more than k primes, but this is a contradiction that there are only k primes. So our assumption that there is a largest prime number is wrong. Therefore, there is no largest prime number. There is no largest prime number, or we can say that there are infinitely many prime numbers. So here, to prove the above statement by contradiction, we have assumed that the conclusion is false, then we have arrived at a contradiction. That is what is the method of proof by contradiction. Next, we can do one more problem. Prove by contradiction root 2 is irrational. Root 2 is irrational. So how to prove this by contradiction? So to prove this by contradiction, we can assume that the conclusion is false. That is, assume that conclusion is false. That is, root 2 is, or assume that root 2 is a rational number. A rational number. So we are assuming that the conclusion is false. That is, we are assuming that root 2 is a rational number. Therefore, root 2 can be expressed as some p by q where p and q are integers such that q is not equal to 0. Also, we can assume that root 2 equal to p by q where p and q are co-primes. That is, p and q are having no common factors other than 1, where P and Q are coprimes. That is, P and Q are having no common factors other than 1. So since root 2 equal to P by Q, we have from this squaring we get 2 equal to P square by Q square. That implies P square is equal to 2Q square. That is, P square equal to 2Q square means 2Q square is even, therefore P square is uneven. Therefore P square is even. Therefore we can say that P is also an even number. P is also even. Since P is even, we have P equal to some 2K where K is an integer. So since P equal to 2K, we can write this from this equation 1. We have 2Q square is equal to P square. From this equation, that is equal to 4K square. Therefore, Q square is nothing but 4K square divided by 2, that is 2K square. That implies Q square is also an even number. Therefore, since Q square is an even number, we have Q is also an even number. So we obtain that P is even number and Q is also even number. Therefore, P and Q are even numbers. That means P and Q have common factors other than 1. Therefore, P and Q are having common factors other than 1, which is a contradiction because we assumed that P and Q are having no common factors other than 1. So, which is a contradiction. Therefore, our assumption that root 2 is a rational number is wrong. Therefore, our assumption that root 2 is a rational number is wrong. Therefore, root 2 is an irrational number. In a similar way, you can try to prove that root 5 is an irrational number. Root 5 is an irrational number.